regardless of whether it's hotels to apartments or multifamily to multifamily, the number one rule is always to remain in control of the deal. And I want to show you guys an example of why that is the case. You read these contracts for auctions. And if you know how those auctions go, they give you the purchase and sale contract. They dictate it to you. And, you are required to just sign off on the contract. It's what we call a contract of adhesion, which basically means they wrote it and you take it or leave it. That's it. Kind of like an insurance policy is a contract of adhesion. You're not able to get in there and negotiate the terms on the on the insurance policy. So I've been looking at this particular property out, and we had made an offer on it. We offered about $500,000. It was a hotel, completely bombed out hotel. And we offered $500,000, and we had not toured the property. We did not look at it. So they had decided the bank, because it's bank owned, the bank takes our offer and says, that's okay. We appreciate the offer. What we're going to do is we're going to take this to auction. So they hired an auction company. And, of course, our name gets put on the list. And so we start getting all the contacts from the auctioneer. And one of the things is his contract. And then Jeff goes out and takes a look at the property. But what we found out afterwards is that our offer of $500,000, very thankful that we didn't get it accepted, because this thing is worse than we thought. I mean, all the electrical's ripped out. It's bad. And so we're really sitting around wondering, because we got a phone call from the bank saying, hey, you're still going to make an offer during the auction? The deadline's coming up. The deadline's tomorrow. And we had a meeting on Saturday, and we're really kicking around the ideas as to, what do we do? Do we put in an offer? Do we just throw out our $500,000 again? Do we, cut it in half, or what's the story? And then we took a look. I'm going to share my screen here. All right, so this first page of the contract. It basically tells you exactly how things are going to go. You have to sign the contract. Last page of the contract, certified check for the earnest money. Dictate. I mean, no negotiations. This is what you're doing. And then I said to Jeff, Jeff, what would happen if we got our offer accepted, no matter what number it is, but we got the offer accepted, and then 30 days later we don't close? What's the worst that could happen to us? And the earnest money is 10% of the offer price. So if we offered $500,000, we had to put down $50,000. We also had to put down 10% for the auctioneer's pay as well. But let's say that $50,000. What's the worst thing that could happen to us in the event that we win the bid and we don't close? How much are we out? Let me show you what happens in this contract. You come down here. So I was talking to Jeff, and I said, Jeff, what are the remedies for default? That's what you want to look for when you're looking at these contracts. You want to look for the remedies of default. So here's the default provision, and it runs through all the things that could be considered a default. Then you come down to this part. If seller declares purchaser in default pursuant to the terms herein, or if purchaser refuses or fails or refuses to carry out any other obligation of purchaser under the terms of this contract, or any other supplemental agreements made a part hereof, or purchaser otherwise defaults under any provision hereof, then at seller's option, exercised in its sole discretion, this contract will be terminated, and upon notice to the purchaser, the earnest money shall belong solely to seller to retain as liquidated damages, except to the extent of any amount that is due and payable to the auctioneer in accordance with the exclusive agreement. Purchaser acknowledges that the actual amount of damages that would be incurred by seller and auctioneer as a result of purchaser's default would be difficult or impossible to ascertain, and that earnest money represents a reasonable estimate of such damages under the circumstances. Okay. The people that said $50,000 would be the level of the damages obviously they get their answer because they stopped reading here. But if you keep on reading, it says, in addition to the foregoing, seller may also elect to assert against purchaser any other remedy available in equity. Can anyone tell me what an equitable remedy would be in this situation? The answer is specific performance. The equitable remedy that they are talking about in that sentence, that they can take you to court and sue you to perform under that contract. That's an equitable remedy, as opposed to a remedy at law, which is the $50,000. So they want to, there's law and equity. Law typically is the remedy for a legal breach is money, and the remedy for an equitable breach is they make you do something. So that's what, like, you talk about getting a restraining order against somebody. That's not a remedy at law. That's a remedy at equity. That's where they can go in and get you to do something. So that's what the thing you have to look at whenever you hear the term, anything that we're entitled to do at law or equity. That's what that means. So in this particular case, if we made the offer and we got it accepted, we could be screwed. And that's the problem with these contracts of adhesion. That's the problem with these forced contracts on you. They wrote it, and they're telling you how it's going to go, and that breaches the number one rule, which is to always remain in control of the deal. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at these types of contracts.